Hey lovelies, this is Janelle, the relationship coach behind the Successful Invisible, and I'm here today with another episode of Ish I Saw on TikTok. Stop feeling sorry for men. It's the fastest way to lose your peace. Because some of y'all are out here at our good and grown ages dating potential and then acting surprised when potential turns into a permanent bill. And yes, this is closely related to men being homosexuals. Understand that the internet is full of I'm going through it men who have a struggle story, men who, need a dollar. Okay? So what I'm not asking you to do is I'm not asking you to be heartless, but I'm also trying to steer you away from dealing with the men who will exploit your empathy. So let's talk about this. Men get a pure 24 hours in a day, right? This is real. With that time, what are they doing to improve themselves within their own lives? Let's jump into it. If you want my full vetting checklist and scripts for these conversations, it's available through the link below. That'll take you to my exclusive coaching community on Coffee. There you will find multiple resources not available on my YouTube channel for dating and vetting with a lot more intentionality, and you'll achieve a lot more success.
I remember me and my dad having this conversation where he told me that I should never feel bad for no man because only men get a pure 24 hours in a day. And I said, Dad, what you mean by that? And he said, think about it. Men don't have kids. They don't have to fight a 28-day hormonal cycle like women. So there's no reason for them to not have no money, be broke, not have a job, not be in shape, or be stupid. He said if women can have kids, be single parents, keep up with their household, go to school, and go to work, then it's no reason for no man to be out here relying on no woman. And as I got older, it just became more true. Like, it just rings true every time. So when I see that homeless man on this app begging, talking about how he need a place to stay and he ain't got nothing, like, my dad's voice just come in my mind. He said even if a man have kids, it's still no excuse. Because most of the time, the child rearing goes on to the woman anyway. And he said it be men who they'll be married and their wife will stay home to take care of the kids, put her dreams, goals, education, job, like, to the side in order for the man to get ahead, believing that it's going to benefit the entire family. So he said only men get a pure 24 hours. There's no reason for them to be stupid, bad body, broke, or anything else. He said if a man is going through a hard time, I should not feel bad for him because either he's going through a hard time, like the life cycle is just not up for him, and that hard time is going to make him stronger and he's going to get through it, or he's going through a hard time because he's not taking advantage of the pure 24 hours and opportunities that he has. This was the advice he gave me because he said I should not. He said no woman should be out here taking care of no man, and specifically to me, he was just giving me a warning saying that I should never give no man no place to stay or no money because he got a pure 24 hours. Why he can't go out here and get his own money? His logic, oh, well, if you got a job and you have periods and you get cramps and you can, like, it's pregnant women that's out here working, but he ain't working, that don't make no sense. So I be saying that all the time now. Like, that's my favorite thing to say. Men get a pure 24 hours. Like, and even if a man is a single dad, 9 times out of 10, he got female family members that are helping him. His mother, his sister, his female cousins. Somebody is helping him. So still, it's no reason. And it's just so true. Like, it's just so true. Because you'll hear men even make comments about women's weight. But then when you look at them, it's like, shouldn't you be, like, ripped? Like, you should be in better shape than anybody because you a man. You have a pure 24 hours to go to the gym, go to work, get some money. Like, there's nothing holding you back. And my dad said that he said that he didn't want to hear men complaining about government assistance either, because women get government assistance because they the ones who are the ones most of the time taking care of the kids, and that men get a pure 24 hours. So yeah, just passing on the knowledge.
Feeling bad for a man is going to be the cause of your downfall every fucking time. Like, literally every time. And if you get with a man who has absolutely nothing, I'm talking nothing to bring to the table, watch you start to lose everything you ever worked for. Men are not to be helped financially. I don't know who the fuck told y'all that, but there's no such thing. The role of a man is to provide. It's to provide and protect. Just as well as the role of a woman is to nurture. That's what we do. It's literally in us. We nurture our kids. We nurture our men. We nurture our households. We literally come in and add love to every fucking thing we put our hands on, allowing it to grow and prosper and be great. The moment you take a man out of what the fuck he's supposed to be doing, you done fucked up. I don't know where this chemical imbalance happened, where some of these men just don't have that natural provider and protector instinct in them, but somewhere down the line, things got fucked up, and there's a batch of niggas out here literally preying on women, taking advantage of their strength and their nurturing capabilities. You see where I'm going with this? As a woman who got her shit all the way to fuck together, all the way together, my name is on everything. The crib, the car, every fucking thing. If you think that you're gonna come around me with nothing, like nothing, you're out of your fucking mind. You're out of your mind. Because if we can mom and work and cook and clean and entrepreneur, what the fuck makes you think that I'm gonna let you come around me and live your softest life? What the fuck makes you think that? Y'all were literally equipped with different capabilities than women. Literally. Your mind is different. Your strength is different. Your capabilities are literally fucking different. We are genetically built totally fucking different. Some things are literally impossible as a woman for us to do. Some things are literally impossible as a man for y'all to do. An example, giving birth. You cannot do that. So to get back to my fucking point, the moment you feel bad for a man is going to be the beginning of your misfortune. The moment you show a nigga that you're willing and capable of being the king and the queen of the jungle, he will never step into his masculinity. Never. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm not cooking, cleaning, sucking, fucking, taking care of the kids, and paying the bills, and letting a man come around me doing absolutely nothing. Cause who the fuck are you, the baddest bitch?
Defending and sticking up for men is a surefire way to find out exactly why you should never do that. Men are supposed to act right. You're not supposed to be sticking up for them left and right, okay? They're supposed to act right to begin with. If you find yourself sticking up for a man, just know you've already lost. Just know that it's its own punishment already. Shout out to Lizzie B for saying that being male-centered really is its own punishment. It really is its own embarrassment. Because literally not even 2 seconds after Cardi B posted this video defending Stefon Diggs, we get the news that he's being charged with assault. He's being accused of hitting and choking a woman who was allegedly working as a private chef for him. According to newly released court docs, the woman was asking for money owed to her, which apparently enraged Diggs. You can pause to read because I'm not allowed to say half of these words and the other half is frankly illegible. But you can see here that he's employing gendered violence and the power imbalance of being this woman's boss in order to avoid responsibility and accountability. And you can pause to read the police report also. It basically details all the events leading up to the altercation, describes the altercation. He basically smacks her across the face as they are talking about the money that he owes her. And see, now all of this little photo shoot is kind of starting to make sense too, because I know for a fact this man understands the public favor that Cardi B has, and I know that he was kind of sucking up to her and her fans, knowing that this was getting ready to come out. And I don't know if she was in on it too, but I wouldn't be surprised because she has historically been very much a pick-me for very problematic men. And as much as I enjoy her music and love her sense of humor and think she's a hoot most times, I can't really deny the fact that she is very pick-me coded. And that sucks. And shit like this is why women choose the bear. This was an employment opportunity. This is not even like a crime of passion. This is literally, imagine you telling somebody that they owe you money and they just smack you across the face and expect to just get away with it. It says in the police report that the defendant was afraid to come forward because she knows the public favor that these like athletes have, and she knows that she probably wasn't going to be believed and she was going to be maligned and dragged across the entire internet. People are going to try to find something wrong with her rather than focusing on the diabolical actions of this man, who by all means should have the money to pay for the services that he requested. But the thing is, men like this have no shame. Men like this have waited their entire life to get that little bit of power so that they could just go absolutely buck wild and reap the benefits of the patriarchy, which allow them to be violent and exploitative towards women. That's why he has 4 newborn babies all in 1 year. That's why he is employing violence against his female employees. We were literally talking about this in our podcast Slack channel with our producer when the news first dropped this morning, and he was just being accused of like strangulation and violence or whatever. And I was like, I want to know who he did this to. Our producer Ryan, a man, was like, I promise you it wasn't a man. I can guarantee you it was not another dude. Because men know this. Men understand these dynamics. They know that when they do shitty things like this to women, when they violate women, they know that not only are people just going to arbitrarily take their side? Innocent until proven guilty. We don't know. Maybe she's lying for money. Maybe she lied so that she could get a big payout. They know that. They also know that the burden of the proof is on the woman. They also know that a woman has to be the perfect victim in order to garner any kind of sympathy for her case to even be viable in court. She has to have conducted herself absolutely perfectly. And the only perfect female victim is an unalive one. We know this also. And even then, they will dig up whatever it takes to make the woman actually look like a monster and not the man who unalived her. I promise you this is going to happen here as well. You're going to see this woman's history, her business, her all of these things excavated to the surface and discussed by a bunch of men who are looking to protect a famous athlete who will never even look or breathe in their direction, just because of bro code. And men know this too. The rich, famous men know this too. They know that bro code and all these other pathetic ass, pick me ass dudes are gonna fucking have their back when shit like this comes out. And they know that it's in the court of public opinion, that's what matters. And all the other dudes, when they see the first wave of dudes defending him, they're just gonna jump right on board. And so they know that the woman is gonna have the burden of proof. She's gonna have all the labor of like going out of her way to be the perfect victim, to like have the perfect documentation, to have the perfect reasoning for what she did, etc. And he knows that it's just not really going to be a big deal. Plus, he is like linked to Cardi B now, and so he can also use her and their new baby as a damn shield. And I promise you that's exactly what he's going to fucking do. So please stay safe out there. I love you so much. Godspeed.
One of the harshest lessons I ever had to learn in life was my father telling me, stop feeling sorry for man. The minute I start feeling sorry for man was the beginning of me becoming a sorry ass bitch. And you know what was even crazier? Fast forward, it was me in this off and on relationship for 7 years with this guy. Obviously, I was in love with. And I remember one day we were like going back and forth, and his response was, stop feel sorry for man. He said the exact same words my father used to say to me growing up. And then when I sat there, right, because that's kind of crazy to hear the same thing from two different people, different decades apart. And then it clicked for me. How I naturally am is a hazard to my own health. When you're a good person and your brain just operates from like a good place, you cannot fathom how you can put yourself in danger because you're dealing with someone that is naturally not like that. Almost like no different if like a person that's a people pleaser or a giver being around a narc. That is dangerous. To be a person with no boundaries. And mind you, I think like maybe because I was in a big family, you're raised on love. You know what I mean? Like you're just raised in a different culture. And fast forward, I'm with this guy. Mind you, he met me. I think he was like the second guy I dated. Like, guys, I started late. But anyway, Yeah, I had my first boyfriend at 20, and then I met him like 2 years later after my first boyfriend. So anyway, I was like 28, and I remember we got into an argument, and he said to me, "Stop feel sorry for man." Now I remember the argument. Him and I were going back and forth, and we were making up, and I was explaining to him that I was only blowing up his phone because I thought that maybe he was hurting, and I just kind of wanted to like make up and clarify some things. And for him, he was out there camooching. He was doing me dirty. And so when he said, "Stop feeling sorry for me," it's the fact that if we're supposed to be at war, how are you worrying about me? So yeah, that was a very strange lesson to learn. We obviously did have a very toxic relationship, but one thing we did have for sure was honesty. We always spoke about whatever, like no matter how bad it was, we were gonna know. We were gonna talk about it. You see what I'm saying? We were more invested in the truth. Obviously, he just could make better decisions despite hearing the truth. And I obviously, despite hearing the truth, had a hard time letting him go. But anyway, good thing that has passed. But I say this all to say, just know the minute you start to feel sorry for man, wait, let me take this back. Let me use myself as an example. The lesson I had to learn the hard way was the minute I start feeling sorry for man was the beginning of me becoming a sorry ass bitch. To each his own. That was the lesson I had to learn the hard way. So do what you want with that information.
I saw someone post that she once read a Chinese proverb saying, "Spending money on men brings you bad luck for a lifetime." And another one that goes, "Feeling sorry for a man is the beginning of your misfortune." Ready? Let's go. Chinese people are very smart. I'll be listening and reading more proverbs moving forward. I agree. I don't know why, but guys can actually act worse than girls when everything is done for them. Sometimes we feel bad seeing it, but when we help them, it just ends up causing problems for other people. It feels like they're just meant to go through hard times because that's when they actually function like real men. Ladies, let's be honest. Once we start catching feelings, that is when the chaos begins. The pattern is the same every time. The more attention you give him, the more red flags you notice. When you stop caring, that is when they start putting in effort because you are no longer focused on what he does or does not do. So girls, never give more than what a man is willing to offer. Reciprocation matters, but always protect your peace. Last Christmas, my ex didn't want me to put his Christmas gifts under his family's tree because it would make it look like he didn't get me anything for Christmas. He didn't get me anything for Christmas. He just didn't want it to look like it. I still put them under the tree and he refused to open them when everyone was opening their gifts. Never again. For a long time, I didn't agree with this statement until I ran into it myself. And honestly, men often don't value it when you're good to them. When you help them, in the best case, you just lose your time and money. In the worst, they just crush you emotionally. I learned this lesson and I'm not planning to repeat it ever again.
The moment you start feeling sorry for a man, this will mark the beginning of your downfall. If you feel sorry for him when he gets away with everything that he does to you, if he can't show you respect even on his bad days, then he is not worthy of you. Is that all you think you are worth? To be treated well just occasionally, because God forbid he treats you well every day. It doesn't make sense. If he cannot treat you well even on his bad days, then he is not worthy of you.
Feeling sorry for a man is really the beginning of your misfortune, because 9 times out of 10, the reason he's so down bad is because he's facing the consequences of his own actions, and you being the kind, empathetic, naive individual you are about to get a taste of that. Instead of actually reflecting on the role he's played in his own chaos, best believe he's gonna make it your problem and everyone else's problem as well. A lot of y'all don't even realize that you're actually getting involved in another person's karma. Let them experience that and don't even insert yourself.
开始, which means feeling sorry for a man is the beginning of your misfortune.
Any problems that a man has even a little bit of control over, for instance, his financial situation, his relationships, his life goals, are not to be sympathized with. Do not become a shoulder that he can cry on. Because pretty soon those problems will start invading your life. He will see your sympathy as currency he can use. He will start seeing you as a coworker to help him fix his problems, and he will bleed you dry. If he's crying about his problem, he's trying to make you into his mother, but what he really needs to be doing is growing up.
You never feel sorry for a grown, able-bodied man, especially when I tell y'all don't play fair in an unfair world. You live in a patriarchal society where you don't even have rights over your own body. Why should you even care about feeling sorry for any type of man. The world was built in their favor and they still can't make it in this world. Okay. How are you running circles around them and the world was built for them? That's my question. How are y'all running circles around men and the men can't even get their stuff together and the world is patriarchal, built for them? That don't make no sense. So why would you feel sorry for someone who the world is created for to thrive? It doesn't make sense now, does it? So we can't feel sorry for them. They have the stamina, the muscle mass, the logic in order to go and get this money. And they still got excuses. Okay. They don't have to bleed every month. They don't have to give birth. There is zero excuses. I don't feel sorry for any of them. Why would we feel sorry for them? Y'all doing too much. Y'all are too emotionally needy. Y'all care more than they care about you. And that's where you fail. Okay. So y'all do better. Come on.
Let's jump into my favorite part of all of the content I post on YouTube. And that's just my thoughts, where I get to kind of express what I feel about whatever we have read or gone over. So let's get into it. All right, let's jump into it. Y'all know how I like to do on these videos. I like to bring out maybe 5 key points that I noticed from the different TikTok clips that I think would be very helpful for you to understand a little more about from a relationship coach perspective. And I believe the more you know, the better you'll do when you're out here in these dating streets. Point number 1, pity is not proof of character. It's a pressure tactic. So remember that feeling sorry triggers your nurturer identity, and women are socialized to be nurturers in most cultures across the world. Definitely, I'm in the US, definitely in the American culture, in this white patriarchal culture in which I live. So let me help you, let me fix, let me hold it down. These are things that women often say when that nurturer identity is triggered and they're dealing with a man who may not be doing his own work to fulfill his potential. But in dating, pity can skip the qualification process, and that is where the problem lies. Relevant examples that you really need to think about, and they were in the video clips, was he's homeless, he needs a place to stay, he's down bad, he just needs a woman to believe in him. None of those things are your problem. And I'm not saying this to be cruel. I'm saying this so you have appropriate boundaries around your time and around the way you express your nurturer identity and your empathy. When women take on the helper roles, okay, it often expands into unpaid labor inside relationships, emotional management, household responsibility, and caretaking. National time use data shows women spend more time than men on household activities on an average day. The translation of that is when you just help a little, it commonly turns into a lifestyle because the system already expects women to absorb the work. Men don't usually know how to accept help from women. They become entitled to it and then usually exploit it and or abuse it. That's why it's wise to be very discerning and prudent about who you decide to help. And if a man is down bad, you need to let him figure that out. So a rule that you can take into dating is I can empathize without enrolling, right? You can empathize without investing in someone else's mess. If a man's story activates pity, slow down. That is a yellow flag for you because more than likely he is very aware of the trigger inside of a woman that his story may happen to hit, right? He is aware. I don't care how smart or not smart scholastically a man is. All men are smart in terms of understanding how to exploit women because they're socialized into it under the system that we live in. Even if they're unintentioned, they know how to do it. Even if they don't think they know how to do it, they know how to do it. They've absorbed it. It's been in every form of media since forever, okay? So if a man's story, sob story, triggers your desire to help, that should be an instant notification to yourself to slow down. Point number 2, a grown man's stability is his responsibility. Stability is not about perfection. It's ownership, job plan, income plan, housing plan, health plan, insurance plan, maybe assistance plan. Does he have other things going on? Those are things as an able-bodied adult that he should have figured out for himself as a single person. If and when he partners with a woman long-term as a girlfriend, a spouse, whatever, then the two of them may be able to, rely on one another for things. But when you first start dating, that man should have all of those things established completely separate from you. And he also needs to have a plan of follow through. You need to observe this man following through on those responsibilities and the ownership of his own plans. So if women can work, parent, run a home, deal with cramps, pregnancy, postpartum, what is a man's excuse for not being able to do that? So in the video clips, they were talking about how men get pure 24 hours. The point is basically that women are already carrying more life administrative roles and responsibilities and domestic load on average, and still producing. The Bureau of Labor time use reporting shows gaps in household activity time by gender. And I believe I read somewhere that when a woman gets married, she takes on something like 7 more hours of work a week. And a man loses about that same amount of hours of work a week. So you have to understand that partnership, as it's been done in the system we're in, women are automatically the default to taking on more of that, domestic load and life administration tasks. So don't rush to do it with a man who is not, doesn't have his ducks in a row for himself. If he's able-bodied and consistently unstable, you're not seeing bad luck. You're seeing a pattern. And that can be a very hard thing to admit, especially when you're very attracted to a man or you like a lot of things about a man. You know what I mean? You like his conversation, you like his charisma, you like a character. But here is a red flag. Here is a point. I can't even say it's a red flag. This is more of a point to consider. A lot of men who have hobosexual natures, who are not owning their own life plans and doing the things they need to do to be fully self-supporting, are really, really practiced and good at engagement with women in that way because their livelihood or sometimes the roof over their head depends on it. So don't get pulled in just because you like it. That man is very practiced. Ask this very early on. What are you actively doing to change your situation? And what's the timeline? If his answer is vague, defensive, or dreamy, disqualify that man because he's on some demon time. And remember, a man who has nothing has no problem helping you lose everything. Lose your peace, lose your money, mess with your credit, lose your fitness, lose your sense of stability and safety, could be lose your home. Do not deal with a man who does not have his shit together. Like I said, at our good and grown ages, we're not a rescue mission over here. That's not what we're doing. Point number 3. If he can't handle accountability, he'll make you the villain. Many men will accept your help, then resent you for having standards. And real talk, a lot of men will accept your help, be resentful for you helping them, and then punish you for you helping them, right? Because deep down he knows that he shouldn't be asking you for help, but more to the point, a lot of men feel because of the patriarchal system we live in, you do something out of kindness, then he will switch in his mind to start being entitled to it, okay? These men will call you too much for expecting basics or get angry or worse if you try to pull back in the way you're helping him. That's why you can't feel sorry for men. You have to let them be okay being uncomfortable in an uncomfortable situation until they make the decision to change it. And I don't mean by using no woman. So in the video clips you saw where somebody said, you show him you can be king and queen and he'll never step up. And that's very true. You become the bills, the therapist, the mom, and the girlfriend. And nobody wants that type of relationship. That is a very draining dynamic for any woman to decide to step into. Understand that relationship risk isn't just financial or emotional. It can be physical. The CDC IPV surveillance materials document that severe intimate partner violence affects a significant share of women over their lifetimes. So keep that in mind and understand the more disenfranchised a man feels about where he's at in his own life, the more he maybe be leaning into a victim narrative, not saying he is an actual victim, the more likely he is going to take that out on you. It's not 100%. But know that abuse is very common in relationships, intimate partner relationships. And you do not want to put yourself in a situation where this man has not dealt with his stuff and is taking out his rage on you. That's not your role. He needs to go to Jesus. He needs to go to therapy. He needs to go somewhere to handle that. This also means that if a man shows entitlement, which men often do when you help them, volatility or intimidation when confronted about responsibility, treat that as a serious safety signal, not a communication issue. And I really want to repeat that. If a man shows entitlement, volatility, or intimidation when he is confronted with what he's not stepping up and doing, usually for himself, possibly for you two together within the relationship, that is a serious safety signal. This isn't about communication, and you need to be quietly planning your exit stage left. A non-negotiable should really be, I do not date men who punish me for standards. All right. If a man gets aggressive verbally, emotionally, financially, physically, you exit. No debates. You cannot save a man from himself. And a man who instantly goes to those behaviors is someone you don't need to be bothered with. Point number 4. Don't defend men who haven't earned trust. Male-centered women and being male-centered is very expensive. Defending a man too early usually can equal you attach your identity to his reputation. You often see this, I would say, in the social media streets with the way that people act, but especially the women who run in these circles when they start dating these athletes, right? And she doesn't know this man, but he is providing a certain lifestyle and he has a certain identity that she wants to be attached to. So we've all seen it, right? Then when facts drop about a man's problematic behavior or things of that nature, that woman is usually embarrassed, but she's also emotionally invested. And that's a very strange place to be. Understand that women publicly defending men and then news drops about harmful behavior is more common than people would like to admit. And with social media platforms like TikTok, like Instagram, like Facebook, people are putting it out there more and more. It doesn't always apply to just celebrities. There's plenty of this stuff going on every day with regular folks. There have been recent public examples where a man's alleged misconduct became news shortly after public relationship discourse, reinforcing why defend later, verify now matters, right? For example, the Associated Press reported on allegations involving NFL player Stephon Diggs, noting these are allegations and part of an ongoing legal process. However, we know that he is associated with Cardi B. She recently had a child. I don't know if it's by him. I don't know if I'll say that's not the point. But her coming out, if she, and saying anything about that is going to reflect on her. Understand the takeaway here is public charm and private conduct can converge. And it is very common that it does. And women pay the social cost when we cap too soon, right? When we cap too soon for a man, we're going to pay a cost. And my mother used to have a saying, a man can be a street angel and a house devil. That's what that means. There are a lot of times, especially with men who have more abusive personality traits or narcissistic personality traits, they appear one way in public and another way in private. And part of the reason they do that is because For the women who do get caught up in their web of deceit, abuse, whatever, if the woman tries to tell anybody about that, she'll seem like the crazy one because he's not like that. No one in public sees him like that or has seen that side of him. So you need to be very, very careful before you're running out here and defending men. I honestly suggest you don't do it at all and really keep your relationships off social media. Different topic for a different time, but good segue. So a rule here that I want you to follow as a relationship coach is you need to say to yourself, I do not do PR for men. If you're not married and he hasn't built years of trust, you don't risk your credibility. And even if you are married, because we're seeing this in Hollywood right now, there's an actor being accused of some very terrible things, some sexual misconduct with children allegations, and his wife is out here capping, proud for him. Now, she has been in the Hollywood game since she was on Melissa Gilbert, Little House on the Prairie. I cannot think of the husband's name right now, but you can. It's all over the internet. She is doing all this now. As his wife, I understand she's going to have a level of wanting to defend him. However, the way she's going about this probably wasn't it. All right. And she is putting all of her reputation on the line, basically committing a little bit of career suicide into assassination with it by capping so hard for this man, especially against such ghastly and terrible allegations. So just keep that in mind. Even if you are married to a man, make sure you move a certain way if something come out and you have to defend him. What Melissa Gilbert's doing is not the way you need to move. Point number 5, your empathy needs a gatekeeper, a vetting system, right? High achieving women don't need more patience. They need a process. And sis, if you like a lot of the ladies that I am fortunate enough to work with, you have a process. You've had a process for everything you've achieved in life, from those degrees to them certifications to building that business, whatever, to just having your hustle down pat, to raising them kids, whatever you're doing, you already know how to build processes. That's why you're successful now. Understand you can be warm and still be unavailable to leeches, right? Don't give a man a place to stay. That is the simplest thing. This includes men in your family. To be clear, this includes men in your family. And don't give a man money. Understand that men have a pure 24 hours. He's a man. He can always go out here and get a certain type of jobs very easily, right? If he's an able-bodied man. He can go work in construction. He can go work as a bouncer. He can be a bar back. He can do things very easily and pick up work if he really wanted to. Because women already carry a disproportionate amount of unpaid labor on average, based upon time use data, adding a dependent adult partner is often a net loss. A vetting system protects your nervous system, your finances, and your future from becoming the solution to someone else's instability. So I have a quick checklist. It's called the Pure 24 vetting checklist. PURE 24, right? P, plan. What's his 90-day plan? U, utilization. What's he doing daily? R, resources. Can he meet his own needs consistently? E, evidence. Do actions match words? 24. Does he use his time like a grown man? Remember, if he's sitting around playing video games, kikiing with his friends, wasting his money on stupid shit like, smoking weed and alcohol, worrying about the brand new J's and getting haircuts, but he's not doing anything fruitful and productive, girl, leave that man alone. He likes to be where he's at. You do not need to be the host for his parasitic nature. So let me know your thoughts below. Remember that, coffee members get the full checklist that I have for this and the scripts for how to ask these questions without sounding harsh, because we want to make it smooth. I know I may present it very harshly, but I just want you to get the point. So check out the link in the description box below, and it'll take you right to it. I definitely hope to see you over there. We have a thriving, lovely. So let me land this plane and spin the block on my whole point. Compassion is a beautiful thing. And your empathy is one of the things that makes you a full and whole human being with a high level of emotional intelligence, I have no doubt. But compassion and empathy without standards and discernment is how women end up drained, right? Embarrassed and behind. You are not a shelter. You are not a savings account. You are not a rehabilitation center. A man with integrity won't need to be rescued. He'll be building himself first and then together with you. So if you're ready to date with clarity, I have a full journaling workbook, scripts, and a vetting checklist waiting for you on my exclusive coaching community through Coffee. The free blog post is there too, but members get the deep coaching tools. Link in the description box below. Love you and stay sharp.